Thank you everyone for joining us today for the CPT, OPT, and job search strategies for international students. If you could maybe just put yourselves on mute, that would be great. So welcome, my name is Megan Spalding, and I am a career advisor in the Albers Placement Center. The Albers Placement Center is the career center for the business school. So we help serve undergrad and grad students in all things career planning, everything from internships, job search strategies, career exploration, interview prep, all of that. And a couple of my teammates, actually all my team is here. Some of you, if you've engaged with our office, have probably met Justin Dolce. Mary Lou Moffitt is our director, and then Lori Nilo, and then myself. The four of us work as career advisors in the Albers Placement Center. And we're really excited to see you here today to talk about kind of the unique work authorizations and strategies for international students. We try to do an international student focused workshop every quarter. And we've had a lot of questions lately about CPT, OPT, how do you find opportunities on those things? And so definitely wanted to, make sure to cover some of that today and hopefully get some of your questions answered. And we're really excited because we also have two alumni with us today to talk about, well, Harry's almost an alum, so current student and an alum, to talk about some of the strategies they used for CPT and OPT. Also grateful to have a few of the International Student Center team with us. I know Dale's here and Chloe. I can't see the rest of the participants, but thank you, some of the International Student Center team, for being here. I might be having them chime in a little bit as we talk through some of these sometimes complicated topics. So let's see if I can advance here. Okay. So just a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. I'm assuming most everybody on the call is on an F1 visa. F1 is the student visa that I find most students are on. I know some people are on H4 and some other different visas. The CPT and OPT we'll be talking about today are available to and related to the F1 student visa. And so a lot of what we're talking about today relates to work authorization for students on a student visa. If you're on an H4 or something else, you'll want to talk to International Student Center about the possibilities of switching or what the work authorization options are for other visas. So we'll primarily be focusing on F1 today. An F1 visa alone, just by itself, just having the visa, allows you to be here in the States to study. And then it also provides work authorization if you want to work on campus. So if you want to work on campus and get paid, you don't have to do anything unique in order to be authorized to do that. You can pursue on-campus positions and be hired for them. The only thing you would probably need to do is then once you got hired, you would go apply for a social security number, which is something you need to have if you're going to work in the United States so that taxes can get taken out of your paycheck. An International Student Center can help you with the social security number process. If you want to work there we go. If you want to work off campus, then the F1 alone does not allow you to do that. There are a couple options that you need to pursue in order to do working off campus. And the two options are what we call CPT and OPT. I'm going to break down the difference between the two today a little bit and tell you kind of what are they about, a little bit of, I'm going to stay kind of high level just for the amount of time we have, but what are they, what do they allow you to do, what's the basic process, to kind of give you an overview, and then kind of how do they work. And CPT and OPT, if you're just kind of starting to learn about them, unsure about them, or you've heard of them and you want to pursue them, they are great. They provide a great opportunity for international students to get some really relevant, beneficial work experience, a foot in the door into the job market here in the US, to hopefully open up possibilities for working beyond school as well. And we're going to kind of get into that. And what we're going to do today, we're going to switch things up. I was going to go into explaining all these things first, but one of our guests, Gaina, has to drop off at 12:30. So we're actually going to bookend the presentation today with our guest, which I actually think will be nice. It'll break up the speaking a little bit, and we'll get to start out with a story and actual experience. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And I'd like to introduce you all to Gaina Kersey. And Gaina is an alum. She graduated in 2021 with business analytics and economics double major. And she is currently, I want to make sure I get the title right, Gaina. She's currently a revenue management analyst for Alaska Airlines, and she's doing that position on OPT currently. And then also when she was an undergrad, she did CPT. So she's maximized both work authorizations. And so I invited her today to tell you a little bit about how she did that and what advice and how she navigated those things, what she learned. Because I think hearing from people who've gone before is probably, one of the most beneficial things for you. So Gaina, welcome. If you want to kind of introduce yourself and go for it, that'd be great.
Yes. So thank you so much for having me today. And sorry again that I have to jump off earlier. I had a last minute meeting that I was scheduled for. But I'm Gaina. As Megan said, I graduated in December in business analytics. I did both CPT and OPT. So for CPT, I did it last summer, 3 months, June to September. What I did to get that internship, it was honestly, if I want to start with an advice, we have amazing resources at Seattle University, which is the international student and the advisors that we have for the career fairs and all these kind of amazing things. And what I did was I received an email from the career, my career advisor telling me that M12, which is like an incubator for Microsoft, was hosting a career fair if I wanted to attend. So I decided to attend. I sent out my resume and I went to the event. I started networking with the people that were at the event. And then 2 weeks later, I got an email from one of the startups that participated to the event, and they were interested into interviewing me and getting to know me better. So I started that process of like the interview process. And when they offered me the internship, I connected with my international advisor, Lauren, which is here. And I told her that I got this job opportunity, and I asked her all the different steps that I needed to take to start my CPT. I think that it is very important to understand that things takes time. So it's important to act earlier and not let things procrastinate all the different processes that you need to take to get where you want to get. So if you need to do a CPT and you're starting looking for internships, you start communicating with your advisor and tell, I want to start a CPT, how early I need to apply for CPT, what are the processes, so that you can also give a timeline to your employer, which will want you to start as soon as possible, but sometimes it's not possible because again, there's times that need to pass in order for you to get all the documentation that you need to start the job. For my OPT, I requested my OPT at the beginning of my last quarter, so end of September of last year. And again, I talked with Lauren. I communicated her that I wanted to start my OPT process. She gave me all the information. There's a great Canvas class that you take where they tell you all the specifics of all the steps that you need to take. And please keep it as a reference. I still have my Canvas open. I have downloaded documents. I still look at it because you forget, right? You start your job, you're very stressed. There's so many things that you have to think about that it's an amazing source. So you keep it and look at it and ask question. If there's an advice, ask question. Go to people that can help you. Ask for help. Don't be shy because people are not shy. Like we are international student, and I know what it means. We kind of like start a step behind just because people need to sponsor you. And a lot of companies don't do that. So it's important for you to set yourself for success, and you have the resources to do that. And just like ask questions, go to all the career fairs that you can. I got my job at Alaska Airlines because I attended one of the career fairs that Seattle U organized. I connected with this guy that worked at Alaska Airlines. I connected with him. Was I muted for a long time?
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but you're good.
All right. So I connected with him, and then I reconnected with him pretty much a month later, asking if they could give me more information about Alaska, that I was very interested. And in the conversation that I had with him, and I think that's what really connected us, I show passion for the major that I graduated from. Like I love business analytics. I love learning about data. And then I showed him why I was so interested in Alaska Airlines. I loved Alaska before working for Alaska. Is like a great airlines. I showed him passion and the reasons why I really wanted to work there. And he actually told me that they were about to open a position, and he advised me to apply, and I got a referral for him. And then I got into the interview process, and eventually I got my job offer. I know that as an international student, it's very stressful and tiring. And sometimes you just want to quit everything and go back home because it's a lot of pressure. But I think that if you have come so far and you have, put up with so many adversities, like even now with COVID and being far from your family, and then certainly sometimes of like, can you stay, can you not stay in the country? It's hard, but it's all worth it, because when you get the job offer from the job that you really like, the company that you like, and the things that you really want to do, it really makes all the struggle worth it. And if one thing that Mary Lou told me when I went one day to her office, and it was like, I'm never going to find a job. This is terrible. I'm quitting. I'm leaving. And she looked at me and it was like, Gina, remember, you don't have to get a job just to get a job. You need to get a job that you like and makes you happy when you wake up in the morning and go to work. And I was like, wow, that's one of the greatest advice, because the job that you do and the place where you work at is going to be the most part of your life. And so be very look for something that you really like, that you really want to do. And if you really take all the steps towards your goal and use all the people that are at Seattle University, everywhere, connect with people, go to career fair, go to the events that SU have, network. People, one thing that I learned about the people in the US is that they truly are happy to help you, and they're ready to give back to students, new students. So connect to them on LinkedIn, connect to them on Handshake. Just connect with me. I'm more than happy to help you. I can put my email in the chat, or you can connect on me on LinkedIn. Just network with people and show them that you really want to do what you want to do. And eventually you guys are going to be where you want it to be. I mean, it's easy for me to say now because I have a job that I love in a company that I love, and I feel very accomplished. But that's what everybody, the people at Seattle University and the people that I have in my life has told me, and it's true. So don't give up.
Great, Gina, thank you. What do you feel like? I know a lot of times students feel like there's just this barrier there, right? Like as soon as an employer hears that I'm an international student, they're not going to want to move forward, or there's just so many hoops I have to go through to get the employment. What do you feel like was like your secret sauce? Like what was the thing that helped you kind of for both internship and job get over kind of those barriers?
I always made sure that they knew that I was on OPT, and that meant that for a certain amount of time, they didn't have to sponsor me. It really depends. I was lucky because I'm on a STEM degree, so I have the opportunity to extend my OPT for 3 years, and you know, that's much easier because at least they have a year of time to kind of like get to know you, and then if they feel that you're a valuable employee, they can like help you get through the sponsorship process. But I think that it's important to remember that they're looking for the best candidate. And it's true that sometimes being an international can be a little bit, you know, not open all the doors. But if you truly, like, you need to go there being like, yes, I know I'm on an OPT, but it's okay because I'm worth the job, and you need to give me the job because I'm the best option you have. And they will give you the job because you are the best option they have. At that point, they don't care about that part. One thing that I personally did, but I'm not saying do, is that when they ask you if you need sponsorship, I said no because I wasn't. My case is also a little bit different, but I said no. But I made sure that the first interview that I had with the HR, because it's always the HR, I told her, I just want to clarify that I am under an OPT. So I have an OPT for 3 years, and I'm not going to need sponsorship. So be upfront. So if it's really a problem for them, they will just not move forward. But that's something that I did. I made sure I said no, but I made sure to clarify that, you know, I won't need it for a certain amount of time, but just to let them know.
Great. To open up that conversation with them, right? But it was good to like be upfront and have that conversation from the beginning. Yeah.
Be honest. That's something that everybody gets to appreciate. But I always found that when I was like, these are my timeline and this is what I can give, they really appreciate it. And they were like, yes, I'm sorry. The timeline, I started applying very early. I started applying for jobs in September. And I told them right away, I won't be able to start until end of December. And sometimes they were like, yes, you know, it's fine for us. It's going to be a long process anyway. And sometimes they were like, you know, we will take you in consideration for other position, which some places did, but for now we need someone that starts right away. So I think that if at the first interview you start like saying what you can offer, they can move on from there.
And how much, Varian, do you think you're like having that internship experience helped you for the full time?
I had job experience back home, but I think that working in the US is a different experience. So having that kind of, even just not for like getting the job itself, but just to familiarize yourself with how companies in the US communicate, how is a workplace in the United States. Sometimes it's very similar to what you have known, sometimes it's not. Or if it's your first job, I think it's extremely important because they see that you have like had that, you know, that mindset where you need to get things done. You know how to prioritize. You are a good communicator. You know how like the environment works, and all those things that if you haven't had a work experience before, you don't really know, I guess. But I think that if you can, and if you can find an opportunity, I highly recommend using your CPT. It's like a great experience, even just for yourself.
Great, Kana, thank you. I want to be mindful, you got to jump off to your meeting. Are you okay if people connect with you on LinkedIn or
Absolutely
reach out to
Please
me and connect you? Okay, great.
Yes, and even if I might not, I can help you I will make sure to find someone that can help you. That's what happened to me, and I think it's important that we do it for other people and we help each other. So please connect with me, and I will try to do my best to connect you with whoever can help you if I can't.
Thank you, Gaina. Congratulations on everything. Excited, and thanks for coming back and helping current students. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah. So got to hear one story, which is always, it's so fun to have people come back and hear what's going on for them. And like Gaina said, I know she would be happy to help anybody who has specific questions or wants to connect with her. So I'm going to jump back into the presentation now so that you're hearing these CPT, OPT terms. If you're kind of like new to all this or unfamiliar, or you've heard about them but just don't know the ins and outs, I kind of want to cover that. I'm also going to show you a couple tactics if OPT is coming up for you soon. What are some kind of unique job search strategies? We'll go through that a little bit too. So let me get back into my PowerPoint here. You guys see that okay? Cool. All right, so CPT, we'll kind of dive into this first. So CPT stands for curricular practical training. And it's that curricular part that's really important to pay attention to. Some of the elements around why CPT exists is it's kind of, all the time it's used while you're still in school. And I think Immigration Office kind of developed it so that for programs that had internships as part of the program, then international students would be able to do those and get paid. We don't have, none of our degree programs really, maybe Bridge MBA, have a requirement for an internship. And so, but there is an opportunity to kind of like make the internship part of your degree so that you can do CPT. So ideally, this is practical training related to your major or your degree. So it's supplementing what you're learning in your classes and a chance for you to get out into the working world to try out what you're learning through your program and build hands-on experience in that area. A CPT is considered part of your program of study. And so because of that curricular part, in order to justify the CPT, we require that students enroll in internship credit for the internship in order to be able to do the CPT. So CPT and internship credit go hand in hand. We are basically making the internship part of your degree or kind of turning it into a class as part of your degree. And so if you start to plan this early, the first quarter or two that you start your program, that's ideal because for most degrees, it counts as elective credit. And so if we can bake that into your elective planning, then it's great. It's taking up an elective class. It's one less class you have to take. It fits right into your program. You're not paying extra money to do it, and helps you, kind of move through and get your degree requirements completed. So that's why it's really good to start asking questions and meeting with us and meeting with your International Student Center advisor early and your academic advisor, so you can kind of plan this into your program and make it a class. And CPT is for paid, it can also be for unpaid, but internships or more temporary positions. We've approved them for contract 6-month, 9-month contract roles as well, but it's not designed for full-time jobs, long-term full-time jobs. You can do a full-time internship, but the key is that it's temporary, that there's an end date on it, because it's designed, again, to supplement your degree, not to just be a way to go out and get full-time work experience. So always looking for it to be kind of that internship-related type of position. It requires some elements. So let me get this out. So eligibility, and we can help you. I'm not going to dive too much into this, but again, your International Student Center advisor, your academic advisor, and myself, I kind of help coach or help people with CPT in the Albers Placement Center. We can help you with your eligibility. So The very first eligibility element is you have to have F1 status for at least 3/4 full time. That means you've been on the same CVIS number that whole time. If you did, if you're a grad student and you did undergrad here on the same CVIS number, then you're set to go. If you just started like last fall, sorry guys, keep getting muted. Then you would be eligible this summer to start doing CPT. So, and we can help you kind of, and International Student Center can look at your background and figure out when you'd be eligible. That internship, we're looking for it to be related to your major or degree. There's a lot of gray area in there. And ultimately, you'll see on the next one, you work with a faculty sponsor to do internship credit and CPT, and ultimately it's that faculty that needs to approve the internship, that it's, you know, quality and high enough level to count towards your degree or be part of your degree or major. And so ultimately that person approves it, but I can kind of coach you on what they typically approve. And then again, if we can plan ahead and bake it into your program, that's ideal. If you've used up all your elective credit, that's okay. You can still do CPT and add on that internship credit. It's just know that you're adding on credit you don't need, and you'll be paying for that credit. Every time you enroll in credit, Seattle U, you have to pay for the credit. So just know that you can add on that credit, but it won't really help you towards your degree, and you'll have to be paying for it. So if we can plan ahead and bake it in, that's ideal. I know many of you, if you're undergrad, if you've transferred and you have an associate's degree, a lot of time that associate's eats up all those electives. But we'll enroll you in the bare minimum credit for CPT, just one credit. You know, if we can bake it into your tuition, we'll try to do that. So you don't have to pay a bunch of money to add on credit. Let's see. Okay, quick on the process. What would you do? We don't really do anything in the CPT process until you've actually secured an internship, and our team is available to help you with the actual internship search process. So if you have not started that or have no idea where to even start, if you've never worked in the US before, are not sure how to navigate that system, we can help with all things related to that. All four of us team, Mary Lou and Justin are available to grad students. Mary Lou, Lori, and I are available to undergrad students to help you with resume, interviewing, how do you find internships, kind of navigating that whole process. We're happy to help you with that. Once you get that internship offer and you've accepted it, you would do a CPT appointment with me. You can set that up through our website, and then I will walk you through kind of the how do you do the internship for credit part and how do you do the CPT part. And the CPT part will involve your International Student Center advisor in the International Student Center. They are amazing and so grateful for their partnership. They will help you with getting the actual, they alter your I-20 and your CPT information's on there. And I would help you with the faculty sponsor and the registration process to get in that credit. Ideally, we need at least 1 week to do that process. Longer is helpful and nice. 2 weeks is really great because you just never know what's going on for all the people who are involved. But it's a pretty quick process because it's just done in-house. It's just done through different departments in the school and International Student Center. So it's a little bit different than OPT, much faster. So right now I have a lot of appointments going on, people getting CPTs in order for summer. And we're a few weeks out for summer. So that's really nice because then we have a lot of time and it's not stressful. Okay, I'm going to check out the chat here. Any questions on CPT? I don't think so.
Megan, the only thing I would add about
Sure,
CPT just really quickly for those in the session is the important thing to remember about CPT is to allow time to process it before the start date, like Megan mentioned. And I just want to emphasize that we have no ability to backdate a start date. of a CPT. So it's very important when you are requesting this kind of authorization that you do it ahead of your start date, not the week of your start date.
Exactly. I help coach on that. I'll tell you, go back to the company. If they want you to start in 2 days, you got to go back and tell them you need a little more time. We'll help you with that. Because CPT is credit related, it does align with the quarter. So right now, when students are coming to talk about summer CPT, they cannot start that internship until June 13th, which is the week after spring quarter is over. So we align it with the quarter when you're doing the credit. And so the internship dates have to align with that as well. You can do multiple CPTs, you can spread things out, but we're really watching that start date. And, when you want to start, we need to make sure that kind of aligns with the quarter when you're registered. So I'll help you with all those nitty gritty things, but just like Dale said, the start date is important. We need enough time ahead of that to get that finished. So that's kind of high level CPT. And I can answer specific questions in an appointment for your specific situation. Let's get into OPT a little bit. So what's the difference? They sound kind of similar. Optional practical training is what OPT stands for. It's 12 months of work authorization, usually after graduation. Most people save their OPT for after graduation. It's a much longer process. So there are one-off times when students have used pre-completion OPT, which is when you use up some of your OPT before you graduate. But CPT is so much more available and easier that I would say most people are trying to use CPT while they're in school and saving their OPT months for after graduation. This is an entirely different process because it does involve approval from the U.S. Immigration Office. And so it's a longer process because it's not done in-house. The whole thing's not done in-house. So you actually work with your International Student Center advisor to go through that process and apply. As Gaina mentioned, and I think Lauren put it in the chat, there's a Canvas course you go through to learn about all the ins and outs of applying and the application requirements. I think the application now is electronic, which is very exciting. So we're making headway. And you can apply for OPT no more than 90 days prior to graduation. So if you are graduating in June and haven't applied for OPT yet, you'll definitely want to get on that so that you can, have it as soon as possible. I think it's taking, I don't know, Dale, do you know how long it's taking right now?
Process is actually moving much quicker since they moved to online. So I think Lauren or Chloe can answer this too, but it's like taking probably average of 2 months.
That's great.
It's actually more like 1 month. I would say like 6 weeks max. It's really fast.
Wow, Lauren, really?
Yeah, so it's been pretty great. Yeah, the online system is awesome.
Much better because it used to take 3 to 4 months. So this is so much better. So good. If you have not applied yet, I would definitely get on it, and you should hopefully have it, by the time graduation rolls around, so you can roll right into work experience, which is great. Yeah, Lauren's here. Yay, Lauren! Thank you. And I saw Chloe Thomas. So a bunch of the ISC team is here. Thank you all. So continuing with the process, you would go through the Canvas course, you work with your ISC advisor to apply. The nice thing about OPT, different than CPT, you do not have to have a job or internship or anything secured before you apply. You can go ahead and apply for OPT without anything, any job opportunity lined up yet. It's just that after that OPT starts, you have to secure something within 3 months. So, but it gives you a little more time and you can move forward in that process as soon as that 90 days prior to graduation hits. You don't have to wait to have a job in hand. So, hopefully that helps give a little bit of overview of both. We're trying to stay kind of high level today, I know, because we're trying to get to a lot of different information and I want to make sure we get to Harry too. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about. Because of the nature of CPT and OPT being temporary work authorization, it it can feel a little tricky sometimes, or just kind of more challenging to find opportunities where employers are okay with that temporary word. Because sometimes for full time, they want people to be in that position longer term. Now, there are a few degrees in Albers. We have the business analytics undergrad, the Master's of Science in Finance, Master's of Science in Business Analytics, and then the accounting degrees, the master's degrees in accounting and analytics. Those are all STEM programs. And so what that means, I didn't have this on the OPT page. That means though, when you graduate from those programs, if you get a STEM related position and the company is willing to apply with you, you can apply for an extension. So if you're in those programs, you have longer, if you get that approved, you have longer than 12 months, you have an additional 3 years to be on OPT. So as Gaina was saying, that was a really nice selling point for her with employers. They didn't have to have those sponsorship conversations right up front. And it opened up some more possibilities for her and a willingness to go down that OPT route because she had more time. So those of you who are in those programs, I would definitely be talking to employers about that and being open about that. Let me get out of my show here, and I wanted to show you all some of these resources on online. So this is the Albers Placement Center website. If you go to the Seattle U website, just search Albers Placement Center or Business Career Center. This is our main website. We have a ton of resources here. If you scroll down a little bit to this menu here in the middle, we have a whole page dedicated to international student resources that looks like this. So there's a button to book appointments right here, either in person or virtual. And then we have like a little accordion thing built out here. This page is really helpful. This connects to the International Student Centers page on employment overview. And so if you're an international student, you haven't checked this page out, I definitely would, because it kind of breaks down all the different authorizations you have on F1 status. It kind of outlines all of those particulars that you need to be aware of. So I would take a look at that. And then we have 2 resources in particular from a job search standpoint that you might want to check out as an international student. Career Shift is one of them. Career Shift's open to all students, but they kind of have this nice search feature on it. You can access it here, and it's single sign-on connected. So you'll sign on with your Seattle U information. It looks like this when you get to it. And so we have a Seattle U account on Career Shift is a national platform. We have our own account in it. It is a job search platform as well as kind of a networking platform. But when you go to the search feature for jobs, why I like it for international students in particular is if you go to the advanced search and scroll down, they have a check to filter H-1B visa sponsorships. And so that's kind of nice who's open to kind of sponsoring for H-1B. You can check that out. I was also going to show you too, Handshake also has that capability. So when you're in, I'm not going to show you now because I can't get in as this, it'll take a while to get in as a student, but when you're in Handshake and searching for jobs and positions, click on the all filters. And there's also a filter in there where you can filter for companies who are open to CPT and OPT. And so if companies are aware of those work authorizations, you can click on that and see positions where they are open to those temporary authorizations. Another resource we have in here for those of you who are from China or at one point want to go work in China. This is a little more specialized, but this is a job search tool called Lock in China. And so it's all opportunities in China. So this is not for working here necessarily, but I like to point it out. If you're from China, you're going home, or again, if you have the ability to work in China, you might want to check out this resource as well for opportunities kind of more focused in on that. Another kind of resource that I send international students to a lot. So if you are thinking about work experience in the US and you want to do it longer term, or at some point do have an interest in trying to get H-1B visa sponsorship. Now, H-1B visa is a work visa in the US for international folks from other countries. And if you want to work longer term in the US, then a company has to be willing to sponsor you for this type of visa. This resource page is helpful because it shows who has petitioned to sponsor in the last couple years for H-1B. And so you can search by city. That's typically what I tend to do. And you can go in and search. Seattle's way at the top. Seattle's one of the top cities of places where they petitioned for H-1B. You can go in and see, this was for 2022. So this is the one that just happened. What were the companies that petitioned for those H-1B sponsorships? And then as you click into the company, you can see what types of positions they applied for H-1B sponsorship for. So it just kind of gives you a sense of who is willing to walk down that road of sponsorship. And so also who's then more open to OPT, CPT, has more capability and willingness to consider those work authorizations. And so this might kind of help focus your search a little bit into companies that are more open to those opportunities and processes. But I would definitely get in here and take a look at what types of positions, so you can kind of get a sense of that from them. Okay. I know there's a bunch of questions in the chat. Justin, you want to take a look at, is there anything I can help answer? Or maybe, you know what, let's save those for the end. I want to kind of make sure we get to Harry's story. So let me go back in here and let me introduce Harry to you all. So Harry is an MSF student. He's almost an alumni. So I called him an alum because he's pretty much there. Graduating in June. And Harry's a Master's of Science in Finance student. He did CPT during his MSF degree. He did OPT after his undergrad. Now he's about to move into OPT for grad. His master's degree, he's going to be he's an analyst for BlackRock starting in June. And so he's done, again, just like Gaina, CPT and OPT. And so I wanted to give Harry a chance to kind of tell his story. So Harry, let me stop sharing. If you want to go ahead. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Megan. Thank you for having me here and organizing these great events. I really appreciate it. So my name is Harry. I'm a MSF student at Albers. I started the program in winter 2021, and I'm almost graduating this June. So I started my first intern back in my undergraduate when I studied economics at University of Washington. I found an internship opportunity of working as a venture capital research intern at Pittsburgh. So basically, I took the economic topics course in my in the spring quarter, and I met the VP of Pittsburgh who came here and shared the VCP industry, which really interests me and attract me to learn more. So they also kind of started, back then they just started a new team called the Bronze Shell.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry. The team name was named Bronze Shell, which is the old currency back in China. And they started a team to focus on the venture capital and PE industry in Greater China area. I was like, I mean, the econ backgrounds, I did a lot of research and I know Chinese, and I think I'm a good fit for this. So I just introduced myself to the VP and just connect with him, and he introduced me to the team, and we have a kind of very interesting dialogues. They just offered me this intern while for that summer. And I think joined the young team, I really learned how to effectively communicate with the team and enhance my critical thinking, also utilize what I learned in the econ, which are all concepts or theories into the application, how to do research, and also learn different methodologies from the team. Then I graduated in December 2019, which is the full quarter after the summer, and they extend me to a full-time position as a research associate, so I can take on more initiatives and the responsibilities in terms of the workflow. So basically, that's my my previous journey. Then I worked 1 year for OPT there, as doing all the sourcing, kind of startup company valuation, or also building multiple data sets. And we all work at home during the pandemic, which is not the same as working at peer-to-peer back in the office. Then I started encounter some like a bottleneck, how to like systematically conduct a business valuation, even though they have limited data points, especially in China. So that's why I want to learn more about finance and the business valuation. And I learned, oh, MSF program, they just started just right after the 1 year OPT. And I applied. I think I sent an email to either Megan or Lauren back then, the first one. First email is, oh, can I apply at this time? I'm really interested in MS, and that now I joined MSF and learned tons of the finance, and all my courses are taken in finance, to be honest. So and during the MSF, I still kind of want to practice what I learned in the finance into my previous job, is like help them expand the methodology on into valuation, and they still want me work for them. So I kind of utilize my CPT to work for another 2 quarters. Right now I'm a full-time student. Just want to focus on my own studies and participating in all the school competition events last quarter. And now I'm kind of prepare myself for another OPT opportunity after graduation. So for just reflecting on my journey, I don't have much like a secret sauce or for the success. I think we all international students, we've been suffering, struggling, having a lot of rejection letters. That's totally normal. I would say congratulations. That's the whole process. So first of all, I want to say, just be confident to yourself. Think about the long-term goals you want to achieve in your career or after your study, and how does the target potential job can help you to achieve your dreams or help other clients or make other people feel more like financial well-being, for example. So you may feel like a very big picture, but it doesn't hurt to try things. If you don't like, and then switch another things. Even though it's hard to find an internship, you may find some close to industry experience. For me, like for international students, it's very hard to get to the investment or finance industry if you handling some money or doing some investment trades. But I find my interest or knock the door to the Red Hot Fund in summer last year. And I really want to learn about the investment, active research, even though it's not paid. And it takes you a lot of dedication and time to learn from scratch, which is different from class. Because in class, all the materials are given by professor, just solve the equation, give the results. But in that, like student organization, I learned a lot. Like just like I treat it like a 4th or 5th class in that quarter. So just try to find those, or even unpaid internships, but try to find or maximize your opportunities to find those like opportunities to help you learn, which you have the experience to share in the future. So to do this, I would also love to talk to people, just be curious about things. If you love about valuation, I normally connect people on LinkedIn, send a cool message. I'm really interested in your job, your responsibility. Could you please grab a coffee or have a chat with me for 20 seconds? 20 minutes, 20 seconds too short. Then only 3 or 4. Like if I send 10 messages, probably only 3 and 4 people respond to me. I would very excited and I will be very excited and appreciate their response. And people in Seattle, I feel is more friendly and would love to share and give back what their experience, kind of just how we keep moving or encouraging with each other. And if you learn they are not good fits, you may ask, do you think other people or your networking who are suitable for me to discuss on these topics or matters? And they would love to refer you, connect with you with other people. So that's how you build the connections. I think there are great resources from your professors, classmates, the mentor program at Seattle U, and learn tons from the mentor Scott in the Garden Capital. And it's been a 6 months journey. He definitely gave me much more insights on the job searching too. And I will also give you some little tips on the interview process. When you have an interview with a company, just do a little bit more research and talk about the target company values or the principles and link that to your experience. So they would like to hire someone who are in the same boat or same shoes or similar critical thinking or some belief. So you kind of share your experience and how you kind of help them solve the problems, just show your value there. And last but not least, I would always ask thoughtful questions. So if they interview you and you treat them equally and ask them questions, show your curiosity and just because you are curious about the job and you value these opportunities, and they will love to answer those questions for you to get to learn more about their companies too. So that's my total advice. Just be confident, be curious, talk to people, ask for advice, and just don't panic and overthink. I think it's not easy process, but just I think what you are struggling or suffering now is just preparing you for what you've been asking for, or what you really want to do or interested in doing in the future. So yeah, that's my my short takeaway. So if you guys have any questions, just please open the floor, and also can leave my email here, connect me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to share and discuss.
Harry, that's great. I think you need to come work for our office, Harry. You're preaching what we preach all the time. Yeah, absolutely. As Harry's talking about the networking piece, I have a networking conversations pretty much at almost every appointment with people, domestic and international students. It's a hugely helpful resource, especially our alumni. So, Harry's going to be an alumni in a couple weeks. Gain is an alumni, so international student alumni can be so helpful for you in this process. We're happy to help you find those people and make connections. And just our, any alumni who are at organizations or in roles that you're interested in, that networking piece can really help you get beyond those frustrations and challenges with online applying, where you're just like over and over and over and over and, not hearing back or not knowing what's happening on the other end. So I think also too, Harry, I love your story that, CPT, and I see this a lot, if you can, kind of take advantage of that CPT, it a lot of times opens doors to roll right into OPT with that company, either shift to a full-time position with them or extend the internship because you've built that rapport, you've shown them your work ethic and performance. And so it really helps that OPT process be a lot less overwhelming, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. I would agree on your points there. I think a CPT is a really good opportunity for both you and the firm to get to know each other, for you to have a taste of the industry or certain type of your work based on what you major study. Then the employer will kind of give a test or train you through this program, the methodologies or the workflow of the regular daily work. Then you kind of get used to it and you like what you're gonna do. So you can have a discussion or dialogues with the manager or your supervisor if they have the opening position after your graduation or once you want to transfer to a full-time position. So, and one, the employer will be a little bit easier to train instead of hiring another person. That will be easier for them to train. They wouldn't train you, just get to the full-time workflow. And second, you guys have been working for a long time. You know each other so well in terms of the relationship, your workflow, your responsibilities, and then you guys just move forward into a full-time position there. But yeah, that's my story. But some people may think, oh, this job might not be interesting to me and I wanted to dive deeper in other areas. That's totally fine. You have experience. How does this experience help you to gain some critical thinking or experience? Then you can leverage this to your future jobs too. So yeah.
Great. I want to be mindful. I know we're almost at an hour. If you need to jump off, absolutely. But we can also hang out for a couple minutes to answer some questions. There's always so much information. We probably need 2 hours to do this. Let me share my screen again real quick and just show you our Albers Placement Center information, just so you all have it. Our email and our phone number. We're open in person again too, and so we're in Piggott 331 if you want to come for an in-person or stop by. Again, there's a lot of resources on our website. So and then of course you have amazing resources with the International Student Center as well. So if you're not sure who your advisor is, or you've maybe gotten emails from them but haven't engaged before, I would highly recommend you introduce yourself and connect with them, because they are wonderful and can help make so many of these overwhelming processes much easier. And if you just go to their staff page on their website, it'll tell you by SUID number who your assigned advisor is. So any questions? I know there's a lot of thank you, Dale, by the way, and ISC team for answering so many questions in the chat. There are so many nitty gritty little questions and about CPT, I know that, and OPT. Those are hard to get to today. We're happy to do those in an appointment because I know there's so many details to it, but let's see. Oh yeah, and they're in Pavilion 160, International Student Center is in 160 in the Pavilion building. Any last minute questions that we didn't cover? Or ISC team, anything to add? Oh yeah, the question is for master's degree, how many credits required are you to keep F1 visa active? During most quarters, it's 6 credits to be full-time student. If it's your vacation quarter, which is generally in the summer for people, you don't have to be in anything. But 6 credits, right, Dale, is the minimum.
Yes, that is correct. And every international student is eligible for 1 vacation term. So you really only need to be full-time 3 out of the 4 quarters. And summer is pretty much everyone's automatic vacation term. So if you would know if summer is not your vacation term. Otherwise, if you don't know, then summer is your vacation.
Thank you. Harry put his email in there. So if you all want to connect with Harry to ask him more specifics or get his advice, that would be great. There we go. How do you know if your major is considered a STEM major, Dale? That's a great question.
Oh, yeah, I also got that as a direct message, so I just answered it. But generally, it is based on the zip code that's assigned by the registrar for that major. And there is a list of designated majors that are considered STEM. So if you are unsure, then you can always email one of us at the ISC, and we can always look that information up on that list of designated STEM majors.
Thanks,
I
Gary.
have a question. Just in case if we get our internship, summer internship of, let's just say, in the first week of June, and like I was just checking the presentation, you said like it will need you guys to at least a 1 week time for to process our CPT. So will that in that case, will you be able to process it on time or?
Yeah, Tanya, it just kind of depends. Like if you come meet with me and you say, I got an internship, the company wants me to start next week. We'll just kind of see how we are on things. Sometimes we can rush it through, but there's multiple people involved, right? There's myself, which, I can move pretty quickly through things, but you've also got to get your faculty sponsor to approve your internship. That can take a day or two. Always trying to be mindful of the million things that the International Student Center team does. And so they like to have, a few days, at least, 3 to kind of process your new I-20. So it just kind of depends. And if it's looking like, oh, that's really last minute, I can help coach you on how do you go back to the company and ask them for a little more time or a few more days for the start term. We can also, you can start internship for credit after the quarter has started. We can register you late. So if it comes together finally July 1st and summer quarter has already started, that's okay. We can add it on. So it's more just kind of like those constant communications with your employer around, I have to do a unique process to get authorization to work for you. Now, the other key thing to keep in mind is if you do not have a social security number. So the CPT process can take a week, ideally, but social security number process can take another, 4 weeks? I don't know how long it's taking right now, because that's done through US government.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that is not happening any faster. We're hearing different stories from students about it being anywhere from 4 weeks to even longer. So that really just, it depends. Because that is a separate process you have to apply for through the Social Security Administration.
Yeah. So keep that in mind too as you're talking to the employer. That will add on a little more time.
Thanks, Maria.
Okay. Thanks, Dale, for monitoring the chat. Great. Well, I hope this was helpful, or at least a helpful introduction. I know there's a lot of small details to all of these, elements. And if you please feel free to make an appointment with me or your International Student Center advisor to, if you have specific questions for your situation, we're happy to help you. And we'll be around all summer. So, anytime you need to come see us. And then those of you who are looking for opportunities on OPT, if you're graduating in June or August and you're just starting that job search, our team is available to help you with that process as well. And going through, what kinds of things to look at and strategies and how to kind of maneuver through those processes. So anything we can help you with, let us know. Thank you all for coming today. And we have recorded this. We'll put it on our YouTube playlist, which you can get to from our website as well. So if you want to access it later, it will be recorded for you. But thank you so much for joining us today.